You're listening to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA, streaming live on YouTube on WBCBSports.com. In from Merrill Reese, I'm Paul Jolovitz. He's getting ready to do a game in Brazil this Friday night. Of course, the Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. We have as our guest, the guy we love on this show, the inimitable Les Bowen. Les, how are you doing?
Just great, Jolly. Thanks.
Look forward to it. Look forward to this show. By the way, let me promo our regular show at the top. Our regular show, mine and Paul Domowitz, the Monday Night Kickoff, the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. We will have Merrill as our guest next Monday night, the 9th of September. Hopefully the Eagles will be 1-0, 6 to 7. That'll be on the radio, on YouTube. You can come out to the pub and say hi to all of us. For right now, we have Les and promo in the NFL season, getting ready for another year. Les, does the offseason seem like forever to you or not?
Football's off season always has seemed, I didn't start out covering football, so it's always seemed quite an undertaking, quite different from any of the other three sports. Really, really different.
Why?
But they've managed to fill it up pretty well
over
the years.
Yeah, you got the draft, you got free agency, pretty much the only
combine, Senior Bowl, all that stuff. They've made all these events. The owners' meetings is now a huge production. It's amazing what they've been able to do to, spring work is a huge thing. Everybody comes to that. It's just a long time to get to the games is what it is.
We now even have the Eagles' longest streak without an interception being thrown in practice, in training camp, which I'm not going to say is meaningless, but I will say it's not quite what gets you into Canton, if you know what I mean. And the holdouts, Trent Williams ended today, Brandon Ayuk. We'll see about Jamar Chase and yada, yada, yada. Well, let's start somewhere else. Before we get to the game, as long as we're talking about that, how stupid are the New York Jets? Joe Douglas isn't a dummy last time I checked. He traded for Hassan Reddick, who was in the middle of a contract dispute then, without signing him to a contract, which is a bozo no-no, and now they're getting what they asked for. How do you feel about that situation?
Yeah, it makes them look really bad. My impression is that they thought they had a tacit agreement. Reddick came and did a press conference there. They thought they had an agreement for him to report, and they'd work on a deal. They would extend the deal that he currently had, give him a little more money, and then think about a long-term deal. Somehow that changed, and I guess, you're right. You need to sign the contract, but I've seen situations like the one the Jets think they had before, where you just sort of, you say, yeah, well, would it be okay if we did it this way? And they say, yeah, and usually it works out. This time it hasn't worked out. I don't know what that really says. It doesn't say anything good about the Jets, but I don't think it says much good about Hassan and his representation either, frankly.
I agree with you 100%. Both sides look bad, but the team is the one that's going to get the fans bearing down on them. And that, as well as many other things, lead into an NFL season that starts Thursday night with the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Kansas City Chiefs in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. And we'll kind of fly by that one for a second because it's the next day in the football hotbed of Sao Paulo, Brazil, at Corinthians Arena, not stadium, arena. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers, two teams based in green, play in a stadium where you're not allowed to wear green. Other than the uniform abnormality, what's the first thing you see about this game? First thing that comes up when Les Bowen dials his mind to that game?
First thing that comes up for me is looking at the Eagles' schedule. What if they're playing the best team they play all season in the opener?
Could be.
I think that's quite possible. The way Green Bay finished its season last year, that playoff victory over the Cowboys, Jordan Love down the stretch last year was, I think, probably the best quarterback in the league who wasn't named Mahomes. I don't know if he can do that over a long stretch of time. I don't know if it's permanent, or anything like that. But the Packers are good, and this is a tough opener. I know the Eagles are favored by 3 points, but I think this is probably not what you would pick as an opening game with a new defense and so forth for Vic Fangio. I think it's a tough tough thing to face. Haven't had many openers like this in recent years, frankly.
Nope, it's in Brazil. The NFL wants to expand its boundaries, and the Eagles are playing in Brazil. They say it's just a business trip, 10-hour flight tomorrow. Two new coordinators, a head coach whose role, at least to a lot of fans and the media, hasn't quite been defined. Saquon Barkley, a lot of new rookies on defense. Quinion Mitchell, Big Fangio says going to play every play. But let's kind of dial it back for a second. Last year, the Eagles lost 6 or 7. They only beat the Giants down the stretch, and they lost the Giants as well. They split there. How do we know? And we don't know anything in sports. The great thing about sports is that you never know anything until you unwrap the present. How do we know, or why do we think that this slide is not going to continue? Whatever happened, what do they do to stop it from happening again, in your opinion?
Well, the new coordinators, you start there, and I think last year's troubles, we could talk about that for hours. Last year's troubles, in a very Reader's Digest version, if anybody remembers what the hell that was, started with the defense. You got into the defensive backfield was so bad in particular that the defense got worn out. The offense, I think, had some problems already, and those were exacerbated when suddenly the defense couldn't get off the field and the offense started feeling like, they had to score a touchdown. They had to take gambles. They had to do silly things they just weren't good because they'd been sitting for 20 minutes, and they were behind, a lot. So they started, Vic Fangio comes in to fix the defense. They rebuilt the defensive secondary, which was the worst unit of the team. They shored up, they got rid of Hassan Reddick, whom we were talking about a minute ago, who apparently was not a positive influence down the stretch. He was very unhappy about his deal. We don't know if they replaced him adequately with Bryce Huff. I'm kind of a little bit of a skeptic on that front, but they did do a lot of things defensively. They should be better defensively. They're not going to win because of their defense. They never were. But if the defense is middle of the league, I think they should have a good season. And offensively, they added Saquon Barkley, and they took the offense away from Nick Sirianni, who kept throwing bubble screens all year, and gave it to Kellen Moore, who has a very good track record with these things.
Yeah.
And they will use motion this year, like all the cool kids in the NFL do. And there's a lot of things they've changed, and like you said, we don't know that all of it's going to work, but there's reason for optimism at this point. 3 months from now, who knows?
Jason Kelce on the offense retired. They got Cam Jordan sliding over. Mekhi Becton from the Jets will play guard defensively. Vic Fangio said first-round draft choice Quinion Mitchell is going to play every snap, either the outside corner or the slot corner. He's impressed some people in camp. We got Cooper DeJean, Isaiah Rodgers back from suspension. The linebackers with Devin White and Zach Baum are new. We'll see what Nakobe Dean can do, and rookie Jeremiah Trotter Jr. The edge rush is uncertain. Can Bryce Huff do this? Can Josh Sweat be better than a half-a-year guy? Is Nolan Smith going to show anything? The two tackles, Carter and Davis, kind of went south in the stretch last year. Can they survive a whole season? The safeties, there's only a couple of them. A lot of question marks on that defense, Les. So they're all answered positively. Could be very good, but it could also be very bad, couldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if the defense is going to be super bad, but I think you're right. There's a wide variance between if everything works and if very little of it works. I just think, having Fangio, I could be totally wrong about this. And there is a school of thought that Fangio's defensive system is kind of on the way downhill now, that a lot of teams use it, and some of those teams didn't do very well last year. And maybe it's, sort of like the West Coast offense or something like that, where, the other side of the ball has figured out answers. But assuming that's not really the case, I just think Fangio is going to make. There were games last year where it was just chaos defensively. Coverages, it wasn't just talent. coverages didn't make sense. You had guys playing different coverages on the same play. The run defense never made any sense whatsoever. They didn't seem to have the gaps, controlled. Pass rushers were going wild and leaving giant 10-yard caverns to run through. I just don't think you'll see that kind of stuff. And for that reason, I don't think the defense will be awful, regardless of who plays well. But, there is a lot going on there, a lot of moving parts.
I think the defense will actually be fine. There is that wide variance that you said. And offensively, Les, obviously, pedigree all over the place. Jalen Hurts needs to rebound this year. Of course, Kelsey's retirement. Before we get into the X's and O's of the actual players and the actual team that'll be at Corinthians on Friday night, I've always said something here and on WIP and to my buddies and you while we're chatting wherever. I think we worry here in Philadelphia and probably fans around the NFL too much. We worry about what people say and not what people do. Jalen Hurts commented that the offense may have some growing pains with Jason Kelsey, which is 1,000% true.
Sure.
Cam Jurgens knows it. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. We're worried about, did he offend anybody in the locker room? Jalen Hurts is not your pretty kind of guy who's going to say the right thing every time. That's who he is. You got to be able to accept that as a human being, that Cam Jurgens is not a newly minted Hall of Famer, and I don't think he is. We had the whole controversy about Jalen and Nick's relationship based on press conferences in the offseason. Listen, I think they're important. I'm a member of the media, but I think what people say is dissected and way over-evaluated because we have time to do so, and action can speak a lot louder than words in this case. What are your thoughts on the subject?
Yeah, with Jalen, I think you're right, but I also think sometimes he sort of misspeaks.
Agreed.
He says things that can be taken differently than what he means. And normally in a situation like that, or traditionally in a situation like that, when a guy sees, oh, geez, people think I said something really bad about my coach. Oh, my God, well, I better straighten this out. Jalen never straightens it out. That he said stuff in the mini camp that was interpreted as being, not supporting Nick. And he just waited until training camp to show up and say, yeah, you guys, you don't know what you don't know, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he doesn't care how people take what he says. And if I were Nick Sirianni or Howie Roseman or Jeff Lurie, I would kind of want a quarterback to certainly not be governed by what people say, but have some sense of, I said something that's causing a problem for somebody else. Maybe I should fix that. And he just doesn't have that in him. It just isn't going to happen. And that's just one of the things you have to live with him.
I think you have to live with that kind of stuff. I agree with you pretty much everything you said, but I know you have, I don't even know your work situation, but I guarantee you've worked with somebody you don't like before, as have I, as has everybody. And as an adult, you just have to handle it. And if everybody was hunky-dory and kumbaya, it'd be obviously a better world, but that's not real life. So the Eagles are going to have to try to play well, put all that behind them, and we'll see what happens. When we come back, we're going to talk to Les about the new kickoff rule. What do we expect? Who knows? A lot of other things around the NFL. The Eagles march down to Corinthians, 10-hour flight. Can they just make it a business trip? Les has been outside the United States to cover games before. Is it just another game? Is it not? We will see. As a Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA continues in a minute.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Summer of Shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs. A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com. Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Welcome back. You're listening and watching the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA on WBCWsports.com. I'm Paul Jolovitz. Les Bowen is our guest. Les has covered football for many years along with other sports. He has covered NFL games in London. We hear about this week, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, a lot of the media availabilities. This is just a business trip, another game. We're not going to leave our hotel, the green thing with the uniforms. But Brazil, 1 hour ahead of us, pretty much right below us, a 10-hour flight. Is this last? You've covered the games in London. Obviously, the NFL does some stuff with tourist opportunities or whatever. I don't know what they are. I've never been on one. But is this, or have they been just another game, another business trip, or the Eagles have all kinds of distractions, as well as the Packers, to worry about?
It changes the routine quite a bit, which is really the primary distraction. They're not like, signing autographs while they're trying to eat breakfast or anything like that. But I see this as a little bit different from London. It's kind of a trade-off. With London, it's a much shorter flight. It's like a 6 or 7 hour flight. But you're crossing all these time zones and you're in a totally different, your body's in a totally different setup. When you get there, it's morning instead of night. And, that's hard to adjust to. With Brazil, it's going to be much longer to get there, but you're only an hour off, so it's not. It's kind of like sitting in the car for a while, I guess. I don't think it's going to really wear them out or anything like that. One concern I would have, and this came up in London, the Eagles played at Wembley, which is an historic soccer, football, arena. But the turf, the field wasn't very good. It was kind of chewed up, and there were some injuries that came out of that game. And the players really didn't feel great about it, playing there on that surface. I don't mean playing in London. I mean, they didn't feel great about the surface.
It's happened here
We
in the
don't
United
know.
States, of course, as we all remember.
Yeah. We don't know what this place in Sao Paulo, what kind of footing they will have, and what that could lead to. I'm not worried about the whole green thing. I think that's kind of a canard. I think it kind of almost an urban legend type of thing. There's no, it's considered their rivals' colors, but they don't go around shooting people who wear green or anything like that. So fans can feel fine about it. I think if they go down there and want to wear a jersey, I don't think there's that big a problem. I think the crime thing has been a little overblown from what I've read anyway. Again, I'm not there and I'm not going, but I think Eagles fans love stuff like this in general. I don't know if they love Sao Paulo, but they love to travel. Every road game, everywhere you go. If you go to Cleveland, there are thousands of Eagles fans there.
Miami.
Some of them live there. That's the other thing with Eagles fans. Anywhere you go, there's a bunch of people from Philadelphia who are already there, including London. I met at least a couple people while we were in London in 2018 who were Eagles fans who had not come over for the game. They were just, they live in London. It's not an odd thing to do. I don't know if Sao Paulo is very much like that or not, but it's the biggest thing for the Eagles, I think, is giving up a home game to do this. That has an effect. That's playing the Packers at the Link would be a decided advantage, and crowd noise, making Jordan Love uncomfortable, so on and so forth. I don't know what it'll be like there. I think the Eagles will have a very healthy contingent of fans, but it certainly won't be like the Link.
Hopefully a lot of fans will go. We know Eagle fans represent. If you go and have a great time, whether you make it a South American vacation, part of a trip around the world, or just a weekend in Sao Paulo, hope you have a great time. You're going to see a team that's missing its best offensive player, soon to be Hall of Famer, 5 years, Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox on defense. They both have ample replacements and adequate replacements, but you take the timing out of an offense when you lose the center. You take a lot of the heart out of a defense when you lose a Fletcher Cox, especially with the pass rush from the inside. Les, who's a bigger loss for the Eagles, Jason Kelce or Fletcher Cox, and how much time do you think it'll take to spackle both holes?
That is an interesting question, Jolly, because at this point in their respective careers, I think Kelce had a bigger impact on the field and off the field than Fletcher did. There was a time when Fletcher was a much more prominent player than Jason. However, having said that, I do think they have a pretty good sub in Cam Jurgens as long as he's healthy. And on the defensive side, they might miss Fletch more than the offense is going to miss Jason, at least in terms of talent, on that unit, if that makes any sense. I thought Fletch could have done sort of a Brandon Graham and agreed to play this year for much less money and kind of do a farewell thing, but he just wasn't interested in doing that. And, I think they'd be a better team if he had. But with Jason, it's mostly the intangibles, the knowledge, the institutional knowledge, having seen situations, having seen defenses, having seen fronts and disguised blitzes and things like that. You're missing all that leadership and the person that he is. Jurgens, though, got what I thought was an invaluable chance last year, starting at right guard next to Kelce. Kelce knew what the deal was going to be. Kelce, it wasn't a surprise that he decided to retire in the offseason. And I think he spent the season basically, Cam, here's why we're doing this. Okay, now on that last play, I saw X. Did you see why I kind of think that was the deal all season last year. And Cam Jurgens is a smart, personable guy. He's not, he's not a shrinking violet or anything. I think he'll step right in there. Whether he's a Hall of Fame level talent, the way Jason Kelsey turned out to be, I don't know. But I do think Jurgens is an acceptable center. I do have a little bit of a concern, and Cam's had been dinged up a little bit. Kelsey, all those years, Kelsey had 1 year that I guess his second year in the league, he went down early in the season with I guess it was a knee injury, and missed the rest of the season.
156 games of his career.
Yes. Yeah. Cam Jurgens has not been that guy so far, and the way the situation is right now, I don't know if you've been following this through camp, but they haven't really had a backup center that they wanted to designate. They cut the guy that a lot of people thought, Dylan McMahon, that they thought was going to be the backup center. It'd get real interesting if something happened to Cam Jurgens.
Let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
And obviously, both sides of the ball, you never want an injury anywhere. But there's three guys, Les. A couple of years ago, Howie Roseman, when he bought his SEC charter card in the draft, he drafted Jordan Davis, he drafted Jalen Carter, he drafted Nolan Smith, he drafted Nakobe Dean. 4 guys from Georgia who are all terrific players at Georgia, none of whom have been terrific players here yet. You can argue Jalen Carter had a few blasts last year and graded out very well, kind of faded down the stretch. Jordan Davis hadn't done much. Nakobe's been hurt. Nolan Smith didn't do much. Were these guys who are part of a great college program, or guys who are going to be able to shine on an NFL level? Which of the 4 do you think will become anywhere near what they were in college?
That's a good point. Sometimes guys look good on a really good unit, and it turns out that they weren't really that guy. I can think of several years ago when the Eagles drafted Kayvon Wallace from a great Clemson team, and everybody thought, oh boy, excellent safety. Well, he wasn't a very good safety at all. He wasn't very quick. He didn't have great instincts. He just happened to play on a great defense. I don't know if that's the case with any of these guys. It's certainly a little bit concerning. We are really early in all of their careers.
Sure.
Less so for Jordan Davis, but
Brandon Graham had a bad rookie year. Guys have bad rookie years and come on, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to.
That's
Hopefully
true.
They all will.
It is remarkable that Carter is the only one who really hit the ground running, of the 4. Nakobe apparently finished up camp, finished up the preseason really strong, and there's still every opportunity in the world there for him, because that position isn't a strong position for the Eagles.
No.
He's not in the starting lineup right now, but he very easily could be. I don't think Vic Fangio is going to consign him to the bench if he's outplaying the guys they have in there. Nolan Smith, I have no idea. It was, he was supposed to be a great pick late at the end of the first round. Undersized, doesn't seem to have a lot of moves. Ended up playing 19 snaps in the final preseason game, and it was very hard to get a straight answer on what that was about. Was it they were trying to sort of get him to deal with reality and that he wasn't really all that, or did they just need somebody to take 19 snaps? That sometimes happens too. You don't have, every position isn't stocked with 4 or 5 guys. If you've got a couple that you don't want to play, if you don't want to play Sweat, you don't want to play Huff, and you don't want to play, Brandon Graham, maybe you needed 19 snaps from Nolan. I don't. But it was alarming to me that, you didn't hear a whole lot about him during camp, and then he's in the final preseason game, which is usually a bad sign for a player.
We'll talk about that after I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
Just seems soft to me. I read all the stories this summer about this time he's in really great shape. But, and I've said this before, if you go back and look at the stories that were written last summer, what did they say? Oh, now Jordan Davis is in great shape. Well, what kind of shape is he going to have to be in next summer? Good Lord. I don't think the problem is the shape he reports in. I think the problem is the shape he's in October and November and December. and whether he has that inside, the inner dog, to really be a dominant player, which he should be with his talent. He hasn't showed it. I mean, he's been adequate, but you don't draft a guy where he got drafted to be adequate. The guy he reminds me of most right now is Broderick Bunkley.
Oh,
and they were thinking more Fletcher Cox when they drafted him than Broderick Bunkley.
Yeah, you hit some, you missed some. I like the inner dog line with George, a little play on words from Les Bowen, who we're enjoying having on the Pro Football Report. When we come back, we'll examine a lot more about the Eagles, the pass rush. Is it good enough? The kickoff rule. What's Michael Clay going to do? Take a little bit of a look around the NFL. And a couple other things as the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA, continues right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Summer of Shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs. A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
We're back with the Pro Football Report, sponsored by BCWSA, right here on WBCB.com live with Les Bowen, our guest, talking about the NFL season, which is among us. Labor Day is done. The summer's not done, but theoretically it is, although not by the dates assigned by whoever assigns those dates. And the Eagles are going down to Brazil tomorrow. Les, there's a new rule. We always like new rules, new twists, new this, that, the other. And the kickoff rule, I don't know what to call it. It's way different than it was. The NFL wants to encourage kickoff returns. The fans love it, while not providing the degree of danger that previous kickoffs provided with the wedge and running this, that, the other. We all know about the general points of it, but what do you think about this rule? What do you think we're going to see when special teams guys open up their bag of tricks? You like it now, you dislike it, and what do you think you'll feel in 5-6 weeks?
Well, I appreciate the effort they're putting into this because the kickoff had become really stale, and it was a source. It really niggled at the league that it was such a source of concussions, because you had high-speed collisions. I don't know if this is working very well the way they have it set up right now. They might need to tweak this. I'm not sure what they need to do, but I think a lot of teams came out of the preseason with the idea that if you're the kicking team, the thing to do is just kick it out of the end zone and take the 30.
30,
I think
the new touchback line. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the 20. It was the 20, and then it was the 25. Now it's the 30. They're going to have to move it up farther than that to really disincentivize, the chance of no return whatsoever. Not getting beat on a big return. I think that's still, when the dust settles, that's the route that most teams are going to go. In terms of returning it, I don't know how exactly you do that. I want somebody who's shifty back there. I guess it's much more like a punt. It's not really a speed thing so much. I'm not sure what kind of guys you want to block there. Maybe like tight end type guys who are very, who can move in space and stuff like that. I don't really know. I still haven't seen that many of them, that were returned to have a real clear picture in my mind of exactly what's going on. But I do think they're going to have to tweak it. I don't think they're going to get a lot of returns out of this. They might cut down on the concussion damage, which is really a huge, huge thing. But I don't think it's going to be revolutionary. I don't think it's going to change the look of the league or anything like that.
I agree with you. If they push that to the 40 or midfield or something ridiculous like that, they'll get a lot more returns. I'm not sure the 30 will be the big difference, but we'll see. That's one of the things that'll be new. I want to get your opinion, Les, on one thing. When the Eagles kick it off Friday night, when Jake Elliott, they'll defer whatever. I hate deferring, but that's for another day. When the Eagles do whatever they do to start the game, one Eagle that Les Bowen is thinking more highly of than the general populace might be, and one Eagle the other way that you're thinking not a lot of, that a lot of people are thinking, watch this guy. Who are those people?
Ooh, well, I hadn't given that any thought whatsoever, Jolly. Who do I like that is kind of under the radar? I might take Mekhi Becton there. I think I've been really impressed by what he has done. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it when they got him from the Jets. It's wrong to call him a failed. He was a very high #1 pick, but he had a great rookie year, and then since then it's been injury and moving around and the team being bad and combination of the above. And he soured on them, they soured on him. And he ended up here, and I thought he was going to be the swing tackle. I mean, that's what they got him for, to replace Jack Driscoll, who, by the way, is back today on the practice squad. But Jack left for Miami in free agency, and Miami stamped return to sender. But, that was what Becton was supposed to be. And then it developed that there was an opportunity there to compete at right guard. He'd never played guard. People were talking about this before it developed, and my point was, well, he's never played guard. He doesn't have a single snap in the NFL as a guard. Why would they do that? Well, they put him there. Tyler Steen had an injury, and they put him there, and he's performed very, very well. He's a huge guard, and it's gone well, and Tyler Steen has had a hard time staying healthy. Steen was a 3rd-round pick last year, and they thought a lot of him, but he got one start and it was horrendous. He had a very hard time. He was a tackle at Alabama, and before that Vanderbilt, who had to move to guard, and to him it was like learning a foreign language. He just didn't. And it is different inside. They say things happen faster. You would think guard would be easier because the tackles make the big money because they're the ones who face the elite edge rushers. But inside you've got twists and stunts and combo blocks, and as somebody said a few weeks ago, I don't remember which Eagle it was, but maybe it was Becton, that there's a guy like right there in your face, whereas at tackle you're kind of playing, arm wrestling the guy for a little bit. Inside, they're right on you, and you've got to, make your first move better be good.
Well, Andy Reid used to draft all tackles because of their feet, and then move whoever needed to be moved into guard to center. He believed in the feet theory. Obviously, if you have quick feet, you'll be better anywhere, but you got to be strong, you got to be tough, you got to know the position. It should be very interesting on that offensive line. Of course, with Jeff Stoutland manning the offensive line coaching position, everybody thinks you put Vinny Bombats in there, he'll be a Hall of Famer in 5 minutes. I don't think it's quite that easy, but the Eagles' entire offense with 2 new wide receiver contracts to Devontae, to AJ, Dallas Goedert, you hope he's healthy and has a big year. Saquon coming on. I think Saquon he's a wonderful player. I think DeAndre Swift was pretty damn good too. I think the upgrade will be less than people think with Saquon, only because of how good I thought DeAndre was. But it's all about Jalen. It's all about around Jalen, the stars surrounding the sun. Rough year last year. We know about the comments and the like, but he's dedicated himself to Kellen Moore's offense. In my opinion, him and Kellen is the most important relationship on that team. He threw 8 million passes in practice without a pick before Slay got him. What do you expect from Jalen coming out of the gate and having not played in the preseason along with the entire offense? What do you expect there?
Well, you're absolutely right, Jolly. That is the story of the season. In fact, I'll have a story on PHLY where I do some writing about Jalen, and it basically says that all this other stuff that we talk about, from Saquon Barkley to Quinyon Mitchell to Vic Fangio, it's all sort of part of the narrative, but the main part of the narrative is Jalen Hurts. And if Jalen Hurts isn't good, then none of the rest of that stuff really matters. It'll be real interesting, given that they didn't choose to play the offense at all in the preseason with a new offense. And the NFL has changed a lot over the last decade or so, and that's one of the changes. I kind of think if you'd have been in this situation 10 or 15 years ago, you would have had your offense out there for a few series here, a few series there.
Patrick Mahomes played. Caleb Williams got his feet wet. Yeah. A lot of guys did play some. Jalen, Nick Sirianni, a tougher camp, but no playing games.
That's right, and we'll see. I mean, it could make a huge difference. I don't think the Packers are pretty good up front defensively, but I don't think that defensive backfield is going to terrorize anybody. We'll just have to see. It'll be interesting to see what approach the Eagles take. Whether they kind of come out of the gate a little bit simple because they haven't had these guys together in a game, or whether they're, throwing the ball 80 yards downfield, first snap. I don't expect that, but a lot depends on the Eagles and how they want to approach it. I think there's no reason why it should be. I mean, if they come out and look horrible offensively, then clearly they should have played these guys in the preseason. But I think they're smart enough to know if they needed to do that or not.
Well, going to be a lot of eyes on Jalen Hurts. Will he run the ball? How will he look in Kellen Moore's offense? How crisp will his reads be? Playing under center, the motion. A lot new about the Eagles offense. It should be a lot of fun as we roll along on the Pro Football Report. We're going to take our final break now. When we come back, I have a couple questions for Les that aren't necessarily about the NFL, a couple that are, and we'll continue talking about the Eagles and the Packers down in Brazil. I have a buddy that lives in Brazil. I asked him the other night on the phone, are a lot of people talking about this game? One word answer, no. Well, we're talking about it. We'll be interested whether the NFL expands to the monolith of the world in 30 years. Who knows? We're back on the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA, right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Summer of Shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs. A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for autopay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
And welcome back. Final segment of the Pro Football Report brought to you by BCWSA. We have Les Bowen with us, which is a good thing because we have a segment on our show every week called What's Les Bowen Up To? And when you don't have Les Bowen, is there really a point to having that segment? But today, bullseye, Les, where can people read, watch, or consume anything Les Bowen?
The PHLY website is always a good place to start. You do have to pay, but you know it's not a whole lot of money, and we've got a lot of people there. Zach Berman, Bo Wolf on the Eagles. We have Jim Salisbury writing some Philly stuff, and beat writers, you know, on all the sports. So there's that. I also have South Jersey Magazine. If you live in South Jersey, or if you can call up southjerseymagazine.com, I have a Saquon Barkley story for this month for the season preview. And, you know, I thought it was a decent effort. So check it out.
Always good stuff written by Les Bowen on Twitter. I enjoy it all the time. By the way, in Brazil, you can't tweet now. Brazil just declared Twitter illegal. Yeah. So we're
now, there
here.
was some talk that if you had a VPN connection, you might be able to do that. But I don't know. mean, John Clark just put a thing on X Twitter that to follow him on Facebook for the game. So,
Yep.
so I guess maybe that's the alternative for this. It'll be really weird because it's been close to 15 years since we didn't have people tweeting
Yep.
every moment of a game.
Yep. And that'll be Friday night at 8:15. Of course, Eagle fans will be glued to it. But the NFL starts tomorrow night. Kansas City and Baltimore. Kansas City trying for another Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. Got some new receivers. Everybody's got a little new this, a little new that. Got injuries, new coaches. Throw it into a fishbowl, Les. Give me one team that you're really looking forward to seeing this year, and one team that you think is going to go straight downhill.
I think the Houston Texans can possibly win the Super Bowl this year. They're in the tough conference. It won't be easy, but I really like their quarterback. I like their coach, and I think there's a lot of good stuff going on there.
New receiver?
Yeah. And they have several. They have a really good arsenal. They've done an amazing. If you look at where that franchise was just a few years ago, it has been incredible what they've done.
Look at Stroud there, the number 2 pick last year.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so a team that I don't like very much. I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm doing a homerish thing, but I'm going to go with the Giants. The Giants used to be 10 years ago. I would have said the Giants had the best organization in the NFC East. They were the ones who, would win a Super Bowl every now and then. That whole thing has fallen off the rails. I don't know. They finally got the really incompetent people out of there. I think they have reasonably competent people in charge now, but they keep making decisions that, that whole Hard Knocks thing where they tried to explain the Barkley situation and why they're paying Daniel Jones all this money and, some of the other stuff they've done. They can't seem to fix their offensive line. They've been trying. It's like the Eagles in the Buddy Ryan years where year after year they had the offensive line fixed. Oops, no, we don't. The Giants, to me, their fans perennially expect things to be a whole lot better. And it's not that I wish ill for them necessarily, but I just don't think I don't see any reason to like them that much. I don't.
All right, Les, we got a bunch of new quarterbacks in this league from Caleb Williams on down. I said last year, and I continue to say it now, that Michael Penix was the best of them. He will be the best of them.
Okay.
A little older, a little banged up, but if you watched Washington last year, you watched a guy that knows what he's doing. He was drafted 8th, hotter than some people thought, but with Kirk Cousins in the way, again, throw the quarterbacks into a hopper. I'll take Michael Penix. Who you got long term?
Haven't given that any thought either, Jolly, but I do like Caleb Williams, and I think Chicago has never had a really great quarterback. They do all these. I think it's 4,000-yard passer. Is that the stat where every franchise is 4,000-yard passers? The Eagles only have. What's that?
Windy City. It's hard to throw there.
Yeah, but no, the Bears have never had one. They're the only team that's never had a 4,000-yard passer. Even when they won the Super Bowl, it was McMahon, and it was the defense, and a quarterback who was plucky and tough and all that. He wasn't a great player. If Caleb Williams can be a Pro Bowl quarterback and a 21st century level passer in Chicago, he's going to be. They're going to embrace him like nothing you've ever seen, and I think he will be set up to have a great career there, assuming they can put pieces around him. But it is a good group of quarterbacks. I certainly don't dislike Penix. I like some of those other guys too. I really think it's interesting with the NFL. Every year you are told that there are at least 2 or 3 great quarterbacks, and at least 2 or 3 guys get drafted in the top 10 most years. And then you go back and look years later, and there are years when there just isn't a great quarterback. It just wasn't there, and they manufacture one in the draft process, basically. You'd think teams would be smarter than that, but I guess they aren't. but this was a year where I think there are legitimately several guys who could be one of those years where you're going to see several guys have very lucrative careers.
Well, the Super Bowl in Miami, will it be the Lions? Will it be the 49ers, the Packers? Can the Eagles make a repeat appearance? We know the AFC is tough. Should be a wonderful year starting tomorrow night. Meanwhile, I wanted to talk to you about something in college football, because you and I are kind of like kindred spirits about being skeptical of stupidity, I would call it. Last night, Florida State got upset by Boston College in college football. Or did they? Last week, Florida State got upset by Georgia Tech. We have preseason polls in college football, which are totally asinine, with all the NILs, with all the transfer portal stuff.
Yeah.
I know Florida State was terrific last year, but they got beat by 6-0 in their bowl game. They were ranked 9th. Maybe these weren't upsets. Maybe there just shouldn't be preseason polls of Jim and you and me figuring who's good and who's not. Don't we need to wait a little while, both in college, pro, or anything? Don't we have to wait until teams have played a few games to let the teams tell us how good they are and not us?
Well, you're right. That's not going to happen, but you're right. Yeah, I would say the college poll now, the preseason college poll, given the things that you cited, you really have a chance to be horribly wrong, because, for instance, Clemson just got waxed by Georgia. It was like a Clemson Georgia game from 30 years ago, before Clemson, when Clemson was in a long stretch where they weren't really that relevant. Dabo Swinney, he didn't want to, he said he would quit if they ever had to pay the players. He didn't quit. Maybe he did and just didn't tell anybody, but they haven't embraced that part of it, and he absolutely won't accept a transfer.
Nope.
So if I were an alum there, he's done a wonderful job with the national championship and all this stuff, but now you're in a situation where your guy won't compete. That's that's not a viable situation in college football today. You have to take the transfer. You don't have to fill your team up with transfers, but you have to be, especially the 5th year guys that are graduate students, yeah, sure, come play here for a year. Yeah.
They have people that have transferred, by the way. They don't take any. Their quarterbacks on place for Florida State now. Ironically enough, we got about a minute left, and if we didn't mention this, I'd be remiss. It has nothing to do with football in any way, shape, or form. You live in South Jersey. You covered hockey for a long time. The Philadelphia area lost 2 wonderful people, forget hockey players, and Johnny and Matt Gaudreau. They were the first family at Hollydale. His father, the sister was going to be married the next day. It's as bad a cocktail as you can imagine. Anything you'd like to say about the Gaudreaus, what sports and hockey means to the Delaware Valley, or anything in that realm?
Yeah, I'm so saddened, obviously, and horrified by what happened. There are a lot of issues there with drunk driving, with bicycle safety, and making the roads safe for people riding bikes. I did not know the Gaudreaus, but I know that he's the best player ever to come out of this area, really. It's just horrible. It's such so many different aspects of it. Matthew's wife being pregnant, Johnny's children being so young, the sister's wedding that had to be called off. It's one of the worst tragedies around here in who knows when. And I just hope that the people involved find healing and peace and some solace in the memories of their loved ones.
Let those memories be channeled from the fans into a football frenzy, because we love sports in this area. We'll always remember those Gaudreaus, and fans of the city have a chance to be excited Friday night. We thank you so much for being with us, Les. Eagles and the Packers. Friday night gets it going from Brazil, then Atlanta Monday night, and it rolls on and on and on. Thank you so much. You've been a great guest. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jolly. Take care.
Thanks very much. We have Brianne O'Neill, who's produced this fine program. Thank you so much, Brianne. Matt Miro as well. Miro Reese letting me sit in for him. He'll be our guest on the Monday Night Kickoff next Monday night from the pub in Conshohocken. Enjoy your football, everybody. Go Eagles for the Monday Night Kickoff. For Les Bowen, I'm Paul Jolovitz saying have a great night, everybody.